Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Johnson. I am the elementary music teacher. When I think of spring, I think of flowers blooming and birds singing. Tonight I am going to share 4 excerpts from this book, Listen to the Birds, an introduction to classical music, music selection and explanatory notes by Anna Gerhard, and illustrations by Cecilia Varela. The first excerpt is called Spring. The music is Spring by Antonio Vivaldi. In 1726, Antonio Vivaldi published an expansive work consisting of 12 concertos for violin and orchestra. The first 4 concertos of this set are the famous 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter, which illustrate different aspects of the seasons through elements of musical language. Part of this sonnet that accompanies spring is as follows. Springtime is upon us. The birds celebrate her return with festive song, and murmuring streams are softly caressed by the breezes. Thunderstorms, those heralds of spring, roar, casting their dark mantle over heaven. Then they die away to silence, and the birds take up their charming songs once more. The first 2 verses of the sonnet are the backbone of the concerto's first movement. At each of the 2 bird references, the solo violin, first by itself and then accompanied by the rest of the orchestra, mimic bird calls and their melodic songs with its cheerful trills. The second excerpt is called The Bird. This is the bird theme from Peter and the Wolf by Sergei Prokofiev. The bird in Peter and the Wolf does not belong to a particular species. The first words that come to mind when one thinks of a bird are light, delicate, and nimble. This is why Prokofiev chose the bird to represent the sound of the flute. Sergei Prokofiev composed Peter and the Wolf to familiarize children with the sounds of an orchestra. In this work, all the characters in the story are represented by the characteristic timbre of an instrument. The tale's narrative is straightforward. One morning, Peter decides to go for a walk in the meadow, unaware of all the dangers and adventures that await him. Together with his friends, a bird, a duck, and a cat, he will have to confront a terrible wolf. The third excerpt is called The Swan. This is the Swan from The Carnival of the Animals by Camille Saint-Saëns. The swan is a large bird belonging to the duck family. Mainly aquatic, it is still part of the only group of birds that can, to a certain extent, use the 3 means of locomotion: walking, flying, and swimming. Its elegant white plumage, its long delicate neck, and its majestic movement in the water have made this animal a symbol of beauty and harmony. This reputation has earned the swan a place in many tales and legends and has inspired fabulous musical works, including The Swan from The Carnival of the Animals. In this piece, Saint-Saëns leaves irony and humor aside to write a magnificent elegy led by the cello, accompanied by pianos. It is the only piece from the Carnival that the composer deemed worthy of being published before his death. In 1905, the great Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova performed The Dying Swan, a romantic ballet set to the music of Camille Saint-Saëns' The Swan, which was met with great success. And the 4th excerpt is called The Cuckoo and the Nightingale. This is The Cuckoo and the Nightingale from the Concerto for Organ and Orchestra by George Frederick Handel. As its name suggests, the second movement of this concerto mimics a dialogue between a cuckoo and a nightingale. The nightingale, a small gray bird with red spots on its back, is highly admired for its song, so much so that in many languages, calling a human singer nightingale is considered a great compliment. The nightingale symbolizes love in numerous fairy tales and legends, one of the most famous being The Nightingale and the Rose by Oscar Wilde. In this tale, the nightingale sacrifices itself to allow a young man to bring his sweetheart a rose. In the Baroque era, the organ was reserved for serious religious music. George Frederick Handel had the idea of taking advantage of the tremendous potential of this instrument by using it as a solo instrument in concertos presented during the interludes of his oratorios. In this new genre, which was well suited to Handel's character, he played the organ himself, showcasing his talent as an organist and charming the public with his cheerful and lively music. The Cuckoo and the Nightingale is a favorite of all these concertos. Thank you and have a great evening. Happy spring.